isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on look?
You really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked.
Too late. That's Karoline Leavitt's response to The View's desperate on-air plea to squash her massive $800 million lawsuit. While Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny are suddenly scrambling to play nice in front of millions, Karoline isn't budging. In fact, she's doubling down, and the timing couldn't be worse for ABC. Just weeks ago, they mocked her, laughed off her lawsuit as some right-wing publicity stunt.
I have to stop you with the camera, because I can see you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Now they're practically begging for mercy on live television. But Karoline's message remains crystal clear. Too late. The day Karoline Leavitt announced her $800 million defamation lawsuit, The View's studio was filled with nothing but smug smiles and sarcastic chuckles. None of the hosts took her seriously. Not for a second did they pause to consider the consequence of their actions. Joy Behar, always quick with a dismissive joke, waved off the lawsuit like it was nothing more than a bad punchline. "This is just another PR move," she said with a roll of her eyes, another conservative crying for attention. Whoopi Goldberg, comfortable in her power position, barely acknowledged the threat. "We've had worse," she muttered dismissively. "It'll vanish by next week." And Sunny Hostin, the show's self-proclaimed legal expert, smiled knowingly as she assured viewers,
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. Watch this.
This case has no legs, none. It'll be tossed out before it gets anywhere near a courtroom. They all laughed. The audience laughed with them. It was business as usual. Another day, another guest to mock, another conservative to dismiss. What none of them realized was that Karoline wasn't bluffing. She wasn't doing this for fame or headlines. She wasn't chasing a news cycle. She was coming with something far more powerful: evidence. Behind the scenes, Karoline's legal team was working overtime. They weren't just collecting clips of what had aired. They were digging deeper. Archived episodes, show notes, internal communications, producer messages. Everything was fair game. Karoline's approach was methodical and patient. Don't respond, don't react, just collect. And while The View continued laughing on national television, ABC's legal department started sweating. Producers began receiving urgent emails from legal asking if they remembered specific conversations. Editors were tasked with pulling raw footage.
These women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right.
Legal assistants scrambled through storage rooms digging up documents, because what Karoline was alleging wasn't just casual defamation, it was a deliberate character assassination. One carefully orchestrated by the very people who now called her dramatic and attention-seeking. The bombshell came when internal communications began leaking. One email from the show's planning channel read, "Joy should press her hard on the youth angle, get her flustered early." Another message stated, "Cut to audience reactions when she stutters." Even more damning was a note scribbled in a planning notebook that literally instructed, "Let her dig her own grave. Just ask about Trump. She'll spiral." This wasn't merely about what viewers saw on their screens. This was about what happened before the cameras started rolling. The calculated effort to humiliate a guest. And now, those private jokes and planning sessions were being examined not in gossipy green rooms, but in sterile legal offices across the country. Unlike her TV counterparts, Karoline didn't scream or rage. She didn't go on Twitter rants or drop vague messages online. She simply sat back, handed her team the evidence, and let the legal wheels turn. Because when you have truth on your side, you don't need to shout. You just need to wait. As days turned into weeks, the mood inside ABC flipped dramatically.
For me, and sort of lived lives of dreams deferred and poured everything in me, and just my life, how I transitioned from college. I went to college when I was 16, high school when I was 12, the struggle of that, and my career as a federal prosecutor, and then how I found my
early crisis meetings were casual and dismissive. "We've been through worse," one executive said during a Monday morning call. "This will blow over like all the others." By Thursday, those same meetings had transformed into full-blown emergency sessions. Top lawyers were flown in, damage control consultants hired, vacations canceled, entire departments were instructed to prepare documentation, and PR teams were monitoring public sentiment hourly. What had started as a simple lawsuit was now a 5-alarm PR inferno. The most terrifying part? Karoline's team hadn't even begun the discovery phase yet. That was the nightmare scenario that sent executives spiraling. Discovery meant both sides would have to turn over evidence, all of it. Emails between hosts and producers, raw footage from before and after tapings, planning documents, staff complaints, prior warnings about the show's conduct from 6 months earlier read, "Am concerned recent interviews with younger conservative guests feel overly aggressive, borderline targeted." Another note from HR stated, "There's a pattern of strategic tension creation."
Think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
Unclear if it's editorial direction or personal bias. These weren't random observations. They were documented warnings, and they had been systematically ignored. The panic spread through every level of the company. Interns who had fetched coffee during planning sessions were suddenly being questioned about what they might have overheard. Junior producers started consulting personal lawyers. Some staff deleted old texts, while others scrubbed group chats. And all the while, Karoline's team maintained complete radio silence. No press releases, no interviews, no leaks, just the crushing weight of their silence. One ABC executive reportedly told a colleague, "It's like she's already won, and we're just waiting for the paperwork." The network that had built its reputation on having the loudest voices in the room was now being outmaneuvered by someone who wasn't saying anything at all. When The View's higher-ups finally briefed the hosts on the severity of the situation, the reactions were explosive. Whoopi Goldberg stormed into the meeting, hair half done, makeup towel still in hand. "We're seriously considering a deal with her?" she demanded. When executives tried explaining the risks, the emails, the footage, the fact that just one producer's admission could unravel their entire defense, Whoopi wasn't having it. "We're making her look like a hero," she shouted. "You think social media is bad now? Wait until they find out we paid her off."
I respect everything everyone is saying to me, and I don't want to fake apologize. I'm very upset about that people are misunderstood what I was saying.
Joy Behar backed her up. "We built this show," she snapped. "We carried this network through election cycles, scandals, shutdowns, and this is how we're repaid?" Folding over one lawsuit. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Sunny Hostin, the lawyer, the voice of legal reason. She didn't raise her voice or make a scene. She simply slid the printed lawsuit back onto the table and whispered, "She has enough to go to court. If this goes public, it won't just be about us. It'll be about the whole network." Whoopi's eyes narrowed. "You're saying we should apologize?" Sunny didn't answer, because in her heart, she already knew it might be their only way out, and that realization was the scariest part of all. When the cameras turned on the following morning, something was noticeably different. The View's set looked the same. Bright lights, big table. But the energy was completely transformed. There were no jokes, no quick zingers, just uncomfortable silences and long pauses. Whoopi sat with her hands folded, her usual smirk nowhere to be seen. She stared directly into the camera, took a deep breath, and said softly, "Things have gotten a little out of hand. Maybe we need to take a step back." That alone shocked viewers, but then Joy Behar, normally quick to dismiss any controversy, spoke up. Her voice cracked slightly as she said, "I don't know why this has to go so far. Can't we just talk?"
And it's not good for anyone. And it's not good for poor folks. It is not good for y'all because you become slave fodder. It's not a good thing.
It was perhaps the first time Joy had ever seemed uncertain on air. Then came Sonny, leaning forward and looking directly into the lens, as if speaking to Karoline personally. Karoline, if you're watching, maybe there's a better way to solve this. 3 co-hosts, 3 pleas. No spin, no sarcasm, just an awkward, almost scripted attempt to de-escalate a situation that had spiraled far beyond their control. Gone were the dismissive jokes, gone was the mocking laughter. In their place was something viewers had never seen from these women before: desperation. But Karoline didn't respond. Not on social media, not through press releases, not even with a cryptic post. Her team issued only a single, chilling statement: "We are moving forward as planned." And just like that, it became crystal clear, this wasn't about conversation or compromise. This was about accountability. Karoline had waited, watched, collected, and now, as The View scrambled to repair their public image, she maintained her silence, letting their panic speak louder than any statement she could make. The hosts may have tried softening their tone, but viewers weren't fooled. This wasn't about peace. It was about fear. And America saw right through it. The internet exploded. Clips spread faster than anything The View had broadcast in months.
It's not good for women because you are now being told and dictated to, and you can't say anything because they, throw you in a jail or whatever.
Side-by-side comparisons showed the hosts laughing at Karoline just weeks earlier, now suddenly pleading for calm. One viral tweet hit the nail on the head. If you weren't guilty, you wouldn't be begging. Another simply stated, "That's not humility, that's fear." Hashtags began trending across all platforms. # Karoline was right, # View meltdown, # media accountability, # receipts don't lie. TikTok creators dissected the shift in tone frame by frame. YouTubers posted lengthy breakdowns highlighting the inconsistencies in messaging. Even meme pages joined the frenzy. One showed Whoopi's face next to a sinking ship with the caption, "Captain goes down with The View." Another depicted Joy clinging to a legal binder, eyes wide, with text reading, "When the roast session becomes a deposition." Fox News and conservative outlets seized the moment, dedicating full panels to the public turnaround. But even some moderate and left-leaning voices chimed in, saying it didn't matter who you supported politically, what mattered was transparency and truth. And through all of it, Karoline maintained her silence. No victory speech, no snarky comebacks. She simply let the internet do what it does best, amplify the truth. Everyone expected Karoline to make some grand move, a press tour, a tell-all interview. But she never flinched. Her team stayed laser-focused. No distractions, no bait-taking. They reviewed evidence, sorted through testimony, interviewed witnesses. Their message behind the scenes remained crystal clear. Karoline wasn't here for PR. She was here for justice. The legal documents were airtight, witness testimonies stacking up with each passing day. Every producer memo, every email, every joke made in poor taste. They all became part of the official record. Karoline wasn't doing this out of spite. She was doing it because she was tired. Tired of the double standard, tired of being mocked on air and then silenced off air, tired of fake apologies and selective outrage.
People got very, very, very angry and still are angry. I mean, I'm getting, all of the mail from folks and the very real anger because people feel very different.
She had seen it before, but this time she had the power to fight back, and she wasn't wasting her chance. People called her brave, others called her strategic, but most just called her right. She wasn't screaming, she wasn't pointing fingers, she was simply moving forward. And The View? They were shrinking fast. Inside ABC, things were falling apart. Executives held emergency sessions twice daily. Advertisers quietly pulled out of contracts. Staff updated resumes. Internal memos leaked showing heated email chains with subjects like reputational risk escalation and contingency strategy view. Some executives floated the idea of completely rebranding the show, while others suggested it might be time to end it altogether. This isn't just a lawsuit, this is a brand crisis, one memo read. And they were right. The damage wasn't merely legal, It was emotional, cultural, historical. The View had long painted itself as the voice of daytime truth-telling, but now viewers saw a different side. The rehearsed lines, the scripted chaos, the bullying masked as banter. Karoline wasn't backing down. She wasn't asking for forgiveness or seeking airtime. She was standing firm, calm, clear, resolved. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about setting the record straight, and millions of Americans were watching her do it. What happens next could rewrite the rule book for talk shows, for media personalities, for how far networks can go before someone finally pushes back. Because Karoline didn't flinch, she fought. And now the storm she brought with her is far from over. The View may have once controlled the narrative, but Karoline Leavitt just changed the channel. And something tells us she's only just getting started.